How you doing? Hey, you guys, how you doing? All right, with confidence, with confidence, with confidence. Hey, yo, J.O. here. That was pretty cringy. What's up, you guys? So, on my last video, I got some comments about singing lower, and I figured I'd make a tutorial. When you ask bass singers, "Hey man, how do you hit those low notes?" They usually tell you, "No, no, no. The number one secret to being a good bass singer is being a good singer." And it's like they never even tell you anything. Well, I mean, like I still appreciate like everything that they give you, but long story short is I'm gonna try to teach this technique. Well, today we're gonna talk about. Long story short is there's many ways to sing lower, depending on the situation. Some ways are better than others. There's the subharmonic technique. There's vocal fry, which is there's growls, which is there's inward phonation. There's a bunch of stuff. What I'm going to talk about here is subharmonics, because that's the one that people have a lot of questions about. Personally, it's not my favorite. I'm a big fan of vocal fry. But yeah, okay. In my notes, it says to warn you guys that I am not a professional. I'm just a hobbyist, like the vast majority of you guys. So take my advice with a grain of salt. This is something that I figured out how to do myself. Yeah. So listen to your voice. If it starts to hurt, if you start feeling tickling sensation, then just stop. Do some voice bubbles, or those are always soothing. Anyways, yeah. So don't hold me responsible to anything that happens. Do this at your own risk. But yeah, so let's get started. In my last video, I called it the David Larson technique because it appears that everybody learned it from him, because he has this series of YouTube videos where he really explains it, and he does a great job. So if I remember, I'll link it somewhere. Yeah, but I'll try my best to give my input on it. All right, so let's get started. All right, so I'm not really gonna go into explaining how this works, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm still a little bit confused about how it works. David Larson says that one vocal fold is moving a fifth slower than the other. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Someone has the ability to record that, I would really appreciate that. But it's all inside, it's all internal. I don't know. I just know how to access it. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. To describe the sensation, because it gets confusing to differentiate between vocal fry and subharmonics. And it's real subtle. But if you notice, when you go into vocal fry, you have to have this, you have to kind of feel it out. When you go into vocal fry, it's more of a squeeze, like, and then when you go into subharmonics, it's more like a float, like your vocal folds are relaxed, and you're just letting air flow out. So it feels, vocal fry feels more like pressure, and subharmonics feel more relaxed. So I'm using my fingers here, assuming. Pretend these are vocal folds. They're nothing else. They're vocal folds. Um, and yeah, so when the air is passing through them, I don't know how to demonstrate this. When the air is passing through them for vocal fry, it's more of a you squeeze it down, and subharmonics, it almost feels like you're so relaxed that they just flap around. Again, this is how I feel it. For you guys, it might be different. This would be vocal fry, and this would be subharmonics. So, assuming you understood that gibberish that I just said, let's try it out. Find a low note that you're comfortable with. For me, luckily I got this thing. For me, a G. That's a note I'm really comfortable with. So from there, you just you relax. You just, for some reason, I have no idea how it works. Voodoo magic or something. I don't know. You end up an octave lower. So you go from G2 to G1. Yeah. So hopefully you guys can access that because it's really fun to do. Now, some troubleshooting. You'll notice that while you're in it, sometimes you pop out of it. So like you'll try to stay there, you keep going back to the normal note, right? I have figured out with my body that it is all about airflow. Now, with normal singing, you use a lot more air, right? I have found out that with subharmonics, you run out of oxygen before you run out of air. You know what I mean? So you get done with a note, and then you got to breathe out, and then breathe back in, because you use so little air. So breath control is really important in subharmonics. Something that helps, and again, this is with subharmonics. This isn't with normal singing. Is actually do the opposite of what normal singing teachers tell you, and bring your jaw in, kind of choke yourself out. Bring your tongue back, and I found that an English R is the best to help control it. So an is really good for this technique. So the whole point is like you're trying to eliminate excess airflow. So so like you know what I mean? So like, yeah, essentially you're choking yourself off. I know it sounds weird, but it works for me. Another problem you'll have, I probably should have put a windscreen on this thing. Another problem you'll have is another problem people normally have is they can't reach higher notes. They're kind of stuck in like a 3 note range. Usually, like me personally, I would be able to reach an A2, B2 max. I found out that that's based on placement. So, you know how in normal phonation, you lower notes, you start like in the front, and then for the most part, depending on which vowel you're on, yada yada, you start at the front, and then as you're going up, you change the placement of the sound, like the way you're pointing your sound you change it depending on pitch and vowel. Subharmonics is the same, but I like to think of it just slightly different. I like to think of it, your lower notes are bouncing from your chords, they're bouncing to the front of your esophagus, then to the back, and then to that placement. That's how I know it sounds weird. Personally, that works for me. So like I'll start at a low note. So like that one kind of cracked, but you get the point, right? So like and you could reach any note you want with it. Personally, I think past C2 it sounds way too nasty, but I mean like the whole point of art is, you have the tools, just do what you want with it. There are no rules. But yeah, so if you want a higher note, you gotta start the placement higher. You can even do it in falsetto. Yeah, I mean, to a certain point, I think that's like some scream technique. I don't know. I'm not much of a screamer. We're building it. Like I said, it just, to me it sounds ugly. I like to keep it down low. So you can access it. We went over breath management and placement. I feel like that's it. One thing about subharmonics is it's really hard to sing a melody with, going, you know, chest to subharmonics back to chest, just because of the nature of it. Um, you since to sing it, you have to aim an octave higher. Like let's say the melody goes from E2 to B1, right? You actually have to go E2 to B2 because the subharmonic register puts you an octave down at B1. So like you have to really navigate around the whole subharmonic register, which is something that I personally don't like because it's just more complicated in my opinion. Um but vocal fry, it's just, well, I mean, like, I guess I guess we'll leave that for the next video, right? Yeah, but like for example, cause I'm the boogeyman. Yeah, I feel like that's it. I can't think of any other problems that can happen with it, but hey, I mean, that's what the comments are for, right? You guys just leave your questions in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities. If I receive enough questions, like I guess I'll make a part 2 to this. Also, let me know if you guys want me to teach you guys vocal fry and what's the other one? Growl. I don't know any of the techniques that I know. I'm happy to share with you guys, just because I'm not much of a secret type of person. I'll tell you guys what. Because I know, I always want to learn the most I can about something. So like, but let's give you guys an incentive. If I get 100 views on this video, I'll make a vocal fry technique tutorial thing. Which, granted, I'm not the best at, but it's my favorite because it sounds the most like a normal voice. Anyways, long story short, comment, subscribe. do all the doodads, and I'll see you on the next video. I don't know. I'm just trying to have fun here. Tschüss, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, adios, bye-bye, sayonara. Some other way to say goodbye. Deuces.